Well, good evening everybody and welcome back to One Hub Racing. This is season number 13 and the finale, round number 10, which takes us to the British Grand Prix at the legendary Silverstone circuit for what is our swan song for not only F1 2018 but also for my co-commentator tonight, Luke Etheridge. Luke, your last race out here before you hang up the headset. I hope not forever, but yeah, looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it should definitely be a good race to end on a track that provides plenty of action, and we have an extremely close championship battle, and that's exactly what you want for the final race of the season.
Absolutely, and if you don't know the championship battle and the championship permutations, Luke, take it away. What do they both need tonight?
So, at the moment, Westy is 1 point ahead of White Fountain, and pretty much White Fountain needs to finish in the top 9 and also be ahead of Westy. If he finishes 10th and Westy is outside the points, they will be tied on points, but because Westy has one more third place, he would take the title.
That is literally as close as it gets. Westy on 103, White Fountain on 102. So in most cases, it's literally, if you finish in front of them, that's that. But of course, we will try and keep you up to date, especially when it comes down to 9th and 10th place. All you need to know is, though, if Westy doesn't finish in the points, as Luke said, then White Fountain needs 9th place or higher. 10th won't do it because of those countbacks. They've both had 2 firsts, they've both had 2 seconds, and it is Westy who's had 1 third place, and that is the only factor deciding them if they end tonight joined on points. Of course, we don't have to worry about the constructors because that was decided last round, Luke.
Yeah, it was this very tier last week that gave Red Bull the victory in the constructors. It's still extremely close battle for second place. At the start of play tonight, there was just 4 points separating Ferrari, Toro Rosso and Haas. Renault also, they're just 21 points behind Ferrari, so a good result from them across the 4 tiers could have got them second place. Looks unlikely as we haven't got any Renaults driving in precision tonight, so it's going to be a difficult task for them, but for sure all eyes will be focused on White Fountain and Westy for the drivers' battle.
Absolutely. Let us know in the chat who you're supporting tonight. Are you supporting White Fountain? Are you Team White Fountain or are you Team Westy? Let us know in that live chat and we'll try and read out more comments on the way. But there is Westy then heading on the Wellington Straight down towards Brooklands here and then towards Luffield. And yeah, the British Grand Prix obviously went through those changes all the way back in, I believe, 2011. But they used the old start-finish line for 2011 and then they moved to the new clubhouse, the new start line, the new pit lane from 2012. So yeah, that 2011 Grand Prix was a bit of an odd one. It was sort of the transition year, but now we're at the new circuit, Luke. It's become the new home of the British Grand Prix. We don't even miss the classic one, or do we?
If I'm being honest, everyone knows Silverstone needed updating. Constant battle between the RDC who owned Silverstone and Bernie Ecclestone about Silverstone needed better facilities, and the only real way to do that was move into the new area just next to Abbey with the new wing. I do miss Bridge Corner. I think we lost some of the features of the old track, but at the time when they did all this redevelopment, they didn't know they were going to have Formula 1, so it was designed a bit more with motorbikes in mind. That's where we have a bit less gradient, these huge run-off areas that are features of many new Formula 1 tracks, and of course 2019 could be the last British Grand Prix at Silverstone for quite a while, still undecided, so I think we've got to enjoy it while we can.
Absolutely. And can you imagine 10 races in and we have a championship battle separated by 1 single point? As it stands then, Westy is on provisional pole position. It's a 1:26.634. Jorrit, exactly the same lap time, but because it looks like Westy has set that first. Yes, he has. So Westy set it first. That means he places higher, and well, one place that actually happened, which was I believe the French Grand Prix back in 1999, where 3 drivers got exactly the same lap time. Someone fact check me on that one, because I think it was the French Grand Prix. Could be wrong though. Could be majorly wrong.
Europe 97, I think.
Oh, was it Europe? Oh yes, it was Jerez. Yes. France, Spain.
Steered into Villeneuve in the race, but I also think in that race, big 4th place was Damon Hill. He was only about 200 behind as well, so it looks like we've got a pretty close pole position battle here at the moment, but White Fountain just over a tenth ahead of Westy and Jollid, and that's exactly where he'd want to start the race from.
Yeah, absolutely. And White Fountain here has a little bit of a mountain to climb, although it's a very, very small mountain. It's still a mountain to climb. That 1 point, the only thing separating them. And as we keep saying, you know, the gap between 5th and 6th is 2 points. The gap between 6th and 7th is 2 points. The gap between 7th and 8th is 2 points. Ideally, he'll want to be at the top, leading the way, but most scenarios in this race, White Fountain just needs to finish ahead of Westy. But of course, if that changes, we will keep you updated. White Fountain heading back to the pit lane. 1:26.5 is the current fastest lap of this session. White Fountain with that lap time.
Yeah, most of the drivers have gone for the soft tyres in qualifying. Ashahina and Azamata going for the mediums. The hard tyres are available, but I'd be extremely surprised to see any of the drivers using them unless they're involved in an incident on lap 1. They try and stretch out their second stint by going for the hard tyres. You do have to make 2 pit stops, of course. We have seen one driver fall foul of it in the Prestige tier this season, but we've all been surprisingly well behaved when it comes to that rule.
Yeah, absolutely. But especially in the precision tier, there's Niels there just getting out of the way of the Ferrari. I believe that was of Lukey, and it was. Well, Lukey has actually won here in one hub at the British Grand Prix, so he should know more than most how to tackle this circuit. Luke, I should probably ask you, Luke Etheridge that is, in my commentary box, just what is the secret to unlocking the potential here at Silverstone?
Confidence. I think a lot of high-speed corners, you've got to have that stability in your car. I mean, you've seen going Mount Stowe, no less than 140 mile an hour through there. You've got to feel comfortable in the car that you can chuck it into these corners at high speed and it will grip and give you the performance that you need. He goes 5th at the moment there with a 1:26.8, but I think that's just having a nice stable car. It might not be the fastest in qualifying, but when your tyres are getting a bit worn in the race, you don't want to be going through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel with a bit of a nervous car. You could be very easily heading towards the barriers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, apparently, according to One Hub in the chat, Josh threw away the championship by not stepping up in podium. So that means Ian Yen is champion. Also, apparently in the chat there, Luke, would you mind turning your mic up is one of the questions there. Turn it up look, maybe a little bit more, as people are struggling to hear you.
Do my best.
Yeah, that's all we ask from you, Etheridge, is that you do your best. Just under 10 minutes to go then, White Fountain leads 1:26.5. Nick G there, 1:26.556, but he's done 3 laps on those soft tyres. Of course, 3 tyres available, the softs, the mediums, and the very, very rare Blue Wall hard tyres. One of the only tracks on the calendar where that's a thing, but with the mandatory 2 stops, it's going to be very, 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 very unlikely that we're going to actually see them during this race.
Yeah, we've seen throughout this season when drivers have used the hardest set of tyres, which has usually been the mediums, they've generally struggled. So unless you're forced into that strategy by damage on lap 1, that is one of the advantages of the 2-stop strategy, that if you do get involved in a collision on lap 1, it's not necessarily the end of your race. But even then, I think they should be able to make them last using the medium tyres. So I'd expect either soft, medium or soft, medium to be the strategy most of the runners go for, especially those in the top 10.
Well, if you're here in Britain right now, you'll have been enjoying the nice weather. It seems like the nice weather has translated into qualifying as well. By the way, tomorrow it's meant to be 31 degrees. Not looking forward to that so much. However, we've got a race to focus on, Luke, and I wonder if anybody's got a weather update for us in the chat. Doesn't look like it yet, so we're going to be on tenterhooks as to what the weather's going to be like. It is Britain, so rain is literally on the horizon.
It is Britain, so even the game forecast is probably wildly inaccurate.
As it always is. No one can get the British weather right. Absolutely no one.
I can't even get it right when I'm out in it. You never know what's where. We're the only country in summer where you've really got to have shorts and an umbrella with you at all times.
Aha, we've got a weather report from weatherman Lukey. Dry in the race for the whole race. So yes, we're looking at that mandatory 2-stop for those, as Luke said, those strategies there: soft, medium, medium, or medium. Was it medium, medium, soft? You said, or medium, soft, soft?
I imagine medium, soft, soft.
There's so many words at the moment. It's a little tricky to keep up. Anyway, welcome if you're just joining us with just over 7 minutes of qualifying to go. If you're joining us from the podium stream, welcome. You've seen a champion crowned. You'll see a champion crowned this time around. Only 1 point separates White Fountain and Westy. Westy leading the championship on 102 points, and 103 points, and White Fountain 102. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very close battle, and I'm really, really looking forward to this one.
They can't really afford to leave anything out on track today. They're going to have to go for it. Finishing behind your rivals not going to do. If we see them get close again like they did last time in Austria, they could be a bit more wheel banging, and we know Westy wasn't particularly happy about that. It did get taken to the stewards, a couple of his incidents with White Fountain, but the stewards decided it was all fair and no further action was taken. So I imagine Westy's going to be fired up this time to put one over on White Fountain.
Absolutely, and as we see it now, we've got White Fountain there on provisional pole position. Westy is in third at the moment, but he's yet to set another lap out there as he makes his way now on towards the hangar straight. No DRS open though, so he's backed out of this lap in the Haas. And the toughest thing I've had adapting to a new game as a commentator is getting the camera angle absolutely right. I think I got it pretty much okay in 2018. It's having to do that all over again as Westy pits in now, third place at the moment. He'll get I assume now he's going to wait for another opportunity, his last chance, waiting for that one. But yeah, White Fountain heading through Cops Corner now and towards the legendary Magus and Beckett's. Just talk us through this high speed section, Luke.
Well, it's still an absolutely superb section. Absolute bravery needed by the drivers are coming through there. Chapel difficult on the corners. White Fountain seems to have taken us through that at a very sedate pace towards the end of that there. Well, it's one of the best sections, I believe, in modern Formula 1 to watch a car through. It really demonstrates the downforce that these cars generates as the drivers flick their way through there. And of course that is what we've had since 2017 with these high downforce Formula 1 cars. They do look spectacular when a car's out there on their own, but as we found out in modern Formula 1 races, doesn't necessarily make it the easiest to follow another car and pull off an overtake. Yeah, as we've seen in this game, it's the last race for me on this game before we move on to the next one. Make sure you're following OneHub on Twitter. It's at OneHub Racing. You can follow them for all the latest updates about season 14 as well, so make sure you're following them on Twitter. That's your main source for news about the series. Yeah, there is a teaser coming out in around July. There'll be more information about season 14, many changes. Well, at least we won't have to get used to the new naming of the tyres. Silverstone a good base to end on with soft, mediums and hards, but there's variations on how you can set up the car, the point for the fastest lap. That could spice things up in the racing, and any other ideas that Nick might have to make season 14 just a little bit different. Well, I think I'm going to struggle with the soft, medium and hards, because to me this is a soft tyre, yellow wall tyres, but in the next game they're not, they're mediums, and that's going to throw me off completely. It has done already. I can't imagine you're going to be the only one that's done that. I think I've been calling them the soft tyres all season when I've been watching it on telly, so I imagine I'd be doing exactly the same. Let us know in the chat then. Are you looking forward to season 14? Are you maybe thinking of applying? You know, 4 tiers now, even more opportunity to get in and show the league what you're made of. 80 places up for grabs. But there we have it then. Lukey making his way now through the club, or down towards the club section. He went through Stowe, which of course where Nigel Mansell went around the outside, which was such a fantastic move to see, even in the early 90s as it was. Lukey heading towards the line, 1:26.7. He goes a tenth quicker than his previous lap, but it's not enough to get him ahead of Victor. Stays in 6th place at the moment. Just over 3 minutes to go. It's White Fountain on provisional pole, Nick G in 2nd, Westy 3rd, Jorik 4th, Victor in 5th, Lukey 6th, Scorpion 7th, TK 8th, Jaw 9th, Jay in 10th, Nika in 11th, Nielsen 12th, Azamata 13th, and Asahina is yet to set a lap time in this qualifying session. Yeah, he's leaving it all out there for that final lap. Once again, Precision Tier extremely close in qualifying, just half a second separating the top 10. I don't think I've ever seen any tier across any form of online racing be this close consistently in qualifying. Just one slight mistake or one good exit getting held up slightly, or perhaps even getting a slipstream down the hanger straight from your teammate. Maybe the Red Bulls might try and give that a go with Scorpion and White Fountain. The Hassers could as well with Westy and Victor to try and get that extra advantage. Just 2 minutes remaining now. They'll all be fired up for their final lap. They'll want to be on track as late as possible, of course, because that is when the track has the most rubber on and the most grip.
Well, I'll tell you what, actually, it's starting to cloud over here at the track, so track temperature may start to go down a little bit, so whether that will help the drivers or not is another question. White Fountain there on an outlap. He's just now heading his way towards the loop of turn 3. Yes, it's really called the loop. That's definitely what it's called. Westy then now making his way down the hanger straight on towards Stowe Corner. This long right-hander, which is very easy to carry too much speed through here. Very easy to be too confident. If you run too wide on the left-hand side, it can invalidate your lap time as we head through Vale and then towards this club corner section. Came here in 2008 at this very section and watched Nakajima go wildly off on the grass. Here comes Westy and grabs provisional pole, 1:26.0. That is a huge statement for White Fountain that he's got to try and match and even beat.
Yeah, he's only going to get one chance to do it, to find half a second all of a sudden, and that must be demoralising when you've been ahead so long in qualifying and such a big gap all of a sudden that Westy has found on that one lap. He must have nailed every single corner, and this is exactly what pressure must feel like. It's going to be the biggest lap possibly of White Fountain's season. He knows he needs to beat Westy in the race. He'll want to start on pole position to have the best chance of doing that. He's just coming around Stowe now, giving himself a big enough gap to the car ahead, and maybe, as you said, Kieran, track temperatures may have gone down with the clouds. Maybe those tyres are just hanging on a couple of corners longer.
Well, let's stay on board with White Fountain then, because this is a championship implication. Here comes White Fountain then all the way towards turn 1. He uses all of that curve on the left hand side to help the turn in through turn 1 and then through farm at turn 2 on towards turn 3, braking around 75 metres before the corner. A little bit of a lock up on the front right as we now head through the loop at turn 4. Then it's a slight left-hander at turn 5 as you make your way now onto the DRS straight of the Wellington straight on towards this turn 6 section now, as we now make our way towards the braking zone. Very heavy braking and a little bit of a lock up on the front left. We're now head through Luffield through turn 7, and then we've got Woodcote just ahead, the right-hander at turn 8. Full throttle now all the way up towards the entrance of Cops Corner. Let's see about sector 2. The sector 2 line's coming up very quickly. The old turn 1, chucking the car in. A little bit of a lift there. That's all he needed, but he stayed in 7th as we now make our way towards this legendary couple of corners. It's Maggots and then it's through Beckett as you now try and wind your way through this high-speed section, hoping that the car holds onto the track. Now through Chapel and on towards the hanger straight now. He's actually going to use a little bit of slipstream from Scorpion here. This could help him as he now... Oh, that's a little bit late there. The two teammates trying to work together as we head through Stowe Corner. Watch out for the exit there. A little bit of AstroTurf there taken to help his exit as we now head towards the club corner section. Was that slipstream enough? Has he nailed this lap then as we make our way around the final corner? Has White Fountain done enough? No, he hasn't. It's faster. 1:26.4, but he's down to 4th now. So a nightmare for White Fountain. Nick G goes 1:26.1. He went quicker. Jarrett 1:26.3 as well. But for White Fountain, 4th place, that is not where he wanted to start. So 3 positions separate Westy and White Fountain. So, well, White Fountain's got to look towards the race now and hope that he can pull it all together.
I think any time he gained in the slipstream of Scorpion, he lost on the run up to Stowe. His teammate wasn't exactly helpful getting out of the way there. He should have been well out of the way before the braking zone. White Fountain had to adjust, and he definitely wasn't as fast through there as he had been on previous laps, but he's still got a chance in 4th place. He does have the 2 Mercedes in between though, and Jovit's in his own championship battle for 3rd place with Nick Thompson, with Chris, who's actually not here, and Nick is just 2 points behind Jovit slightly, so he's not going to be too keen to get out of the way. He's going to want to end the season on a high as well.
Absolutely, but it's advantage Westy in towards the final race of the season. It's Nick G in second, Jorit third, White Fountain in fourth, it's Victor in fifth, Asahina sixth there with his one and only lap, Joran seventh, Lukey in eighth, it's Scorpion ninth, and Azamata rounds out the top 10. TK 11th, Jay in 12th, Nielsen 13th, and then Nika is there in 14th place. So I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be a very interesting championship battle. Only 1 point between the two championship rivals. Have we said that enough already, Luke? Do we need to hype this up any more?
I think we could do we mention it a few more times before the race starts, perhaps, just to drill it into everyone's head. I
think you're right. You were saying it earlier, Luke. How many championship points are there between our two rivals tonight?
I think there might be one. I'll just have to double check.
Is it one? Just double check that. Have we drilled it in enough, guys? 1 point between Westy and White Fountain, and it's, well, in most scenarios, whoever finishes and whoever crosses that line first is the champion. The only real championship implication is if they finish outside of the points, especially with Westy. If he finishes outside of the points, then White Fountain has to finish 9th or higher. If he finishes 10th, they finish level on points, and Westy would win on countback because he's got 1/3 place that White Fountain does not. That is so close right now. I mean, could we hype this up any more?
I think we're going to struggle to hype it up anymore, and hopefully it'll live up to the hype. As mentioned earlier, they did get very close on track multiple occasions last week, and hopefully we get to see an on-track battle for the championship this time out. I really hope penalties don't come into it, but we've seen quite often at this track, especially around Stowe and Club at the final corner, it's very easy to run wide, so keeping it clean will be at the forefront of both of their minds, I feel. But once they get into the action of the race, that might slip a bit further back.
Well, here we go then for the formation lap, the last formation lap of season 13, and Westy leads them towards turn 1. Let's just have a look at some of the tyres that everybody has chosen. Well, of course, the top 10, as you all know by now, have to start on the tyre they qualified on. TK then is the first of the fresh tyre runners. He's starting on a fresh set of medium tyres, which are white for now, but they will be yellow for next season. Jay there in 12th on a set of soft tyres, Niels in 13th on a set of softs, and Nika in 14th place running around on a set of medium tyres. So the constructors has already been wrapped up. Red Bull across all 4 tiers have absolutely dominated this season. They'll be thrilled to do that, and they'll be looking to see maybe if they can hold on to their drivers and see if they're not tempted to go elsewhere, of course. But yeah, Westy now leading them on towards the old turn 1 at Copse Corner. So much on the line here. It's important for either Westy or White Fountain to not make a mistake, to not overcommit through the first sector. They just need to stay out of trouble, and really they have to just think about the long term. Yes, they could make that move up towards turn 3, absolutely not going to stop them, but if they get any bit of front wing damage, and that could really put a dent in their championship battle.
Yeah, you don't want to be too greedy into the first couple of corners, especially White Fountain. He might be slightly more nervous than Westy, A, because he's starting behind his rival, but also because White Fountain has Victor right behind him, and we have seen him be a bit feisty at times this season, so I'm sure Westy will be hoping that he manages to get ahead of White Fountain and maybe just hold him up slightly in the first few laps. We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure there won't be anything untoward going on, but Victor will be doing all he can to help his teammate and help Haas get second in the Constructors.
Well then, make sure you're following all the right social medias. Luke, for the final time this season, take it away with our sponsor.
So this stream, as all One Hub streams, is sponsored by Next Level Racing. Feel free to check out their website for a wide range of wheel stands and rigs. Use the code ONEHUB10, so that's one hub in words and then the number 10 to get 10% off your order.
Well, we're moments away then from the British Grand Prix and the season finale. Westy on pole position, White Fountain in 4th, and here they come then for the 5 red lights here at the season finale. Round 10 is underway, and what are the starts like? Looks like Westy has had a good start. Have a look at White Fountain in the background, and the two Mercedes going side by side in formation. That's one of them going wildly wide there, and I think that's Nick G, who just missed his braking zone completely. Victor is up to second place, and that is White Fountain, who is now up to third. Oh, there's a contact in the back. Scorpion's around. Scorpion is around. He's just around at turn 3
White
there.
Fountain's run wide.
White Fountain run wide. He's now down to 5th place. Jorrit and Asahina get past, and Jay there gets a 5-second stop go for ignoring a yellow flag. White Fountain now going up the inside at turn 6 here as he now head through Luffield. White Fountain now having to go round the outside of Jorrit then, as they're now going side by side on the exit of Woodcote. White Fountain just about keeping the car in check as we now head through towards the old turn 1 Cops corner. Nick G's left the session completely, so that's one less car for White Fountain to worry about, but he is past Jorrit then. Up to 4th place he goes. He's back to where he started, but the nightmare for him is Asahina and Victor have both jumped him. So it's Haas 1-2 at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Victor here just try and form a little bit of a train here, maybe to help his teammate. But as they head now down the hangar straight, Westy leads. It's Victor second, Asahina in third, White Fountain in fourth. You've got Jorrit and Azamata there going side by side as we head towards the right-hander here. And Jorrit just about keeps ahead. TK through Stowe, goes around the outside of Jay and keeps that position. And he stays in 8th place for now then, as we've got Jay coming into the pits. He will serve his 5-second stop go for ignoring yellow flags. That's what he's been given by the virtual race stewards. But there we are then. After lap 1, Westy leads, Victor second, Asahina third, who runs wide at turn 3 there. That is a Toro Rosso going up the inside of Jorrit. He's now going around the outside at the loop through turn 4. And Jorrit just about holds on then through turn 5, but Azamata here might have a better run on towards the Wellington Straight. You can see how far to the left Asahina's gone to try and get out, or to try and make sure the White Fountain doesn't get any slipstream whatsoever. Bit of a messy start further back, but what's important is that Westy's leading, White Fountain in 4th. They're basically back to where they started, although Victor, Westy's teammate, up in 2nd. That could have huge championship implications.
Yeah, Jorrit seemed to get a bit of a poor getaway initially, and that allowed White Fountain to pass. Nick G just ran wide going into turn 1. Don't know whether he was spooked by White Fountain behind him, but Victor and Asahina must have got absolutely fantastic starts, and Westy already 2.3 seconds ahead of his teammates, so well outside the DRS zone, which they will have next time around. It's a fairly good first lap as well for TK and Nika on those medium tyres. They'll be a bit slower at this stage in the race, but it will come to them later on. They've both managed to move up into their points in 8th and 9th at the moment. Absolute nightmare for Nick G though. He's left the session 12th place, not what he will have wanted.
Lap 3 then, and DRS will be online this lap as Westy sets the fast lap of the race, 1:30.3. Of course, that doesn't mean an extra point for this season, but it will for next season, as we're riding on board with TK, then heading through turn 1, then through turn 2, and it seemed like he was in 8th gear there, and it wasn't actually getting the drive he wanted. Maybe he might have been better to just downshift to 7th and see if he can get a little bit more torque, but the engine just seemed to really struggle. The car seemed to bog down. However, TK now in the slipstream of Niels as they head towards turn 7. Niels then goes to the inside. Sorry, this is turn 6. He's now trying to go around the outside here as we head towards Luffield. Up the inside goes TK, and on those medium tyres there, he's got the move done as the Force India runs onto the gravel, loses that back end very slightly there, but gathers it all back up. Luckily for him, he's just lost the position there to TK as he now head through the old Cops corner through turn 9 and then on towards Maggots and Beckett's. But TK now up to 7th place. Meanwhile, White Fountain is within DRS range of Asahina as he now head on towards the hangar straight. DRS wide open, but with Asahina also having DRS, he's now trying to close in on Victor. Let's see if he'll have a move towards Stowe. Does he have a think about it? No, he doesn't. Stays well back for now and just sort of deciding maybe now's not the right time. Scorpion making a move on Nika, then up to 9th place he goes down the hangar straight with a little bit of DRS. He's now up to 9th and past Nika towards Stowe corner. And Westy that's still leading 2.8 seconds in the lead.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if White Fountain is the first one of the front runners to pit. Try and get the undercut done as we see Asahina run slightly wide through. I'll be there if White Fountain gets the loop right here. He could have a great chance in the DRS zone, but Asahina seems to have recovered slightly, and it's very tough, of course, with the Sauber having that DRS, and the Red Bull can't afford to overcommit as Ashihina goes very defensive there to break the slipstream. If White Fountain overcommits, Jovic's only a second back. He's just dropped outside the DRS zone, but he could easily take advantage of any rash moves from the Red Bull driver, and we saw him make a few of them in Germany at round 6.
Absolutely. Meanwhile then, Lukey has got away past. There's Nicker trying to now go up the inside at Luffield to try and take this position back. Lukey on the outside, Nicker on the inside. He's lost the back end. Did they make contact, the two of them, I wonder? Out of turn 8 as they make their way towards turn 9. Niels is in trouble. He's in the gravel. Now, where is that, I wonder? That is towards Cops there. So on the exit of Woodcote, Niels has got it wrong. That's a very odd place to lose the back end entirely. But we'll jump on board with White Fountain because he's right in the slipstream of Asahina coming towards Stowe Corner. But again, he just doesn't have the run. With Asahina having the DRS, it's going to be wildly difficult for him to actually get that move he needs. Coming now down to Vale and then towards the club corner section. Victor, you saw they're running wide on the exit of Stowe Corner. That can give you a warning. Too many of those will give you a penalty. That will only help White Fountain in the long run. Right now, he needs that on-track position.
Yeah, it's not a big braking zone either into Stowe as Asahina runs wide once again. So you haven't really got the chance to get that speed differential and get down the inside. He might be better trying to hold it around the outside there and giving it a go into Vale. We saw Niels one wide coming out of Luffield the lap before as White Fountain is a lot closer this time. Asahina going all the way to the inside. White Fountain might be able to go round the outside here if he's brave enough. He'll have the inside line for the next corner, but Asahina very late on the brakes there. Stays in third place for now, and this would allow Victor to get away, which actually might help White Fountain a bit if Asahina drops more than a second behind the Haas driver.
Well, absolutely. Westy's already 3.4 ahead of his teammate right now. White Fountain goes through Cops, got a little bit of understeer on turn-in, and you got that moment there where you think, I'm actually not going to make this corner, but the car eventually did bite and got the grip he needed. But now going through on towards Chapel here and onto the hangar straight. As you can see, Asahina does not have DRS. This time, White Fountain might have a look, maybe around the outside at Stowe as Asahina there gets onto the grass, might run a little bit wide on entry, and yeah, he runs a little bit onto the AstroTurf there. White Fountain again looking for that way past, but he's being quite patient at the moment with 22 laps to go, now to 21 laps to go. So yeah, he's got it on the line, but at the moment, as it stands, he's not going to do much sitting behind Asahina the whole race. He's got to try and find a way past.
He's either got to go for it or pit earlier on and take advantage of the undercut. We've just seen Lukey and Nicker swap places for 9th and 10th as Nicker's trying to round the outside at Abbey. There's a bit of contact between the Ferrari and the Williams, and Nicker gets the move done. I don't think Lukey will be too happy about that, but that just shows that the medium tyres are starting to come into their own now, so don't be surprised to see a few drivers pit. But White Fountain, he'll be hoping that if he does pit earlier on, he'll be able to get into clean air, of course. I'm sure he'll be on the radio to Jeff, finding out about the gaps and where he'll come out after the pit stop, because he's going to have to try something different here, because Asahina just seems to be able to do enough to hold him off through the DRS zones. There's a bit of a drift there for the Red Bull.
That was a bit of a hair-raising moment for White Fountain. They just about kept it under control. The only issue was that Asahina had a similar moment. If White Fountain hadn't made that mistake, he might have had a chance. Asahina runs onto the grass. This could be White Fountain's chance now. Down the hangar straight, underneath the advertising board, and we now head towards Stowe. White Fountain's going to have to go round the outside here. Can he try and make this move stick? They're holding it side by side, but no, White Fountain runs out of road. He rejoins then, and Asahina actually dives into the pits along with Victor. So Westy and White Fountain stay out then, and well, any chance of the undercut now is gone, and I wonder, is that going to be a decision that comes back to haunt White Fountain later on this race?
Yeah, unless he was being held up severely by Asahina, he will expect to come out of the pit stops behind them, so maybe he has to go a lot longer to ensure he can do 2 stints on the soft tyres now, and just hope that something happens to Westy, because 4.7 seconds, we do still have 20 laps remaining, but he's got to try and find around about a quarter of a second a lap at the moment, and Westy just seems so comfortable out in front. He won't have been defending or attacking as the Red Bull have been done, so you'd expect the Haas to have fresher tyres than his rival at this stage in the race.
Oh, Wesley there making his way towards turn 9, Copse Corner, and then on towards the high-speed chicane almost, that lovely winding section. Still the gap remains at 4.6 seconds, but as you say, White Fountain having to do a lot of battling out there. Might have hurt his tyres just a little bit. 4.5 seconds the gap is now, but that is a live gap. So we'll have to see how that increases and decreases through that high-speed section. Yeah, it's going back up now to 4.6. There you go. So yeah, it's a little bit of a stalemate between these two as it stands. However, we still have a long way to go. We still have the 2 stops to go as Wesley and White Fountain come into the pits. Then the 2 championship rivals in the pits at the same time. And I wonder here if Wesley's going to get held up by White Fountain. I wonder if you can keep an eye on that, Luke.
Yeah, to see as they're coming into the pits now. Point to note, Ashahina seems to have lost quite a bit of time in the pits to Victor, and he's got jobbies all over the back of him now for what could be 3rd or 4th place when they're coming out of the pits. Westy and White Fountain both putting the soft tyres. He wasn't held up at all in the end, far enough ahead for that not to be an issue. It's just where he comes out in relation to his teammates. Quite a long pit lane here, but I think they're going to be well clear of the rest of the field. Westy is definitely. It's going to be pretty close for White Fountain. Victor is coming around now, and he's just got out ahead of White Fountain. So White Fountain has cleared Ashahina, who now finds himself behind Jobbit. So he's in a net 3rd place at the moment after the pit stops.
That's at least good news for White Fountain. He's got one less car to deal with through the pit stops. But of course, with Asahina on the medium tyres, he's now got a free choice of tyres for his 3rd stint. Whereas White Fountain, whatever happens, has to go on a set of medium tyres towards the end of the race. So it's a little bit of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Asahina's looking to try and get this medium stint out of the way first as quickly as possible. Then maybe go on to a soft stint towards the end. But at the moment then, you've got the top 4 who haven't pitted yet, but it is Azamata in the lead, TK in 2nd, Scorpion 3rd, and Nika in 4th. But we're expecting him in very shortly, apart from TK and Nika, who are expected to go, into the double figures, as now TK will take the lead of this race. And here's the thing about Silverstone: you want to do in a race that doesn't have a mandatory 2-stop, you really want to prioritise a 1-stop, because the pit lane is so long here and so slow. You spend so much time in this pit lane that it's all that time lost. But if everyone's on a 2-stop, that sort of all neutralises again, but it still doesn't add to the sort of pain and misery you feel in that pit lane going so slowly.
It's just dreadful when you're waiting your way down the pit lane. It will feel so slow at 100 kilometres an hour as you're making your way down. See Jobbit set the fastest lap of the race now, a 1:30.1. Maybe he's going to try and hunt down White Fountain. He wasn't too far behind before the pit stops, I should say. Westy seems to have pulled out that gap a bit more now, actually, after the pit stops. It's at 6 seconds at the moment, so he seems to be able to turn his tyres on earlier on. It's all going to come down to that medium stint, I feel, with Ashahina being the joker in the pack. He's struggling at the moment, but he's paying the price now. He'll reap the rewards in the final few laps of this race.
Well, that's the theory, isn't it? Asahina being on the medium tyres now. Just get them out of the way, get these tyres out of the way, and let's see what happens towards the end. TK and Nika showing us early on in this race that the medium tyres can switch on, but it does take them a couple of laps. We already know that, as they did struggle off the start, but then started to build some pace. Maybe it might turn out that the medium tyres are the better race tyres, but TK now in the pits, and he's coming earlier than we thought. So that means Nika is going to come through and take the lead of the race then, as he is yet to stop, of course, but any moment now he'll take the lead, and there it is. The Williams of Nika taking the race lead. So TK in 2nd, but he will drop down the order as Westy now goes through. So Westy's only got 1 car to clear, and Nika, the car he needs to clear, has to make another stop. So Westy will be hoping that Nika makes that stop before he catches him.
Yeah, judging by how long the soft tyres have lasted on most of the cars and by how long TK's managed to get the mediums to last, it doesn't really seem to be much benefit staying out there for a long time on the mediums. So I'd expect in the next lap or two Nika to be out of the way and Westy to have a clear run for the rest of this stint. I thought White Fountain would be harrying Victor more at this moment. He's only got 1 lap fresher tyres, of course, but he could do with getting within DRS range just to have a chance at overtaking the Haas driver, because That might just put a bit of a psychological edge on Westy if all of a sudden he's got his main title rival behind him and he hasn't got that buffer that his teammate provides. But White Fountain just doesn't seem to be able to get close enough at this stage in the race.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that then, with 17 laps to go, 16 and a half if you're picky. The yet to stop Nika does lead the race. It's Westy in second, Victor third, White Fountain fourth, Jorek fifth, Azahida in sixth, Azamata seventh, TK eighth, Scorpion ninth, Lukey in 10th, Jay in 11th, Nick G is running around as a ghost car, he's in 12th place, Niels in 13th, and then Jor is running around in 14th place right now. So there you can see Nick G is a ghost car. Nika is then into the pits as Westy sets the fast lap of the race. It's a 1:29.4 as Westy's really going for it.
Yeah, he's not managing his tyres at the moment. He just wants to build out as much of a lead as possible. He's enjoying himself at the moment. He's not had the easiest races last two times out. Got caught by the pit lane glitch in Germany and just seems to be involved in incidents with White Fountain and Chris last time in Austria. 6.2 seconds ahead with his teammate behind him, and I think White Fountain must be listening to what I was saying, because he's pulled about half a second behind Victor now. He's going to be going for it in the next lap or two. Could see a late lunge into Stowe, because he'll know Westy is just pulling away at the moment. I'm sure he's checking that gap regularly. 7 seconds is a big ask with 15 laps to go, unless penalties come into play, of course. Everyone seems to have kept it fairly clean so far. We've seen the odd stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so I'm sure White Fountain's hoping he can get a chance to get behind his rival. He gets very close to Victor through Beckett's there, but it's just not enough space there to try and overtake. He's going to have DRS. Victor not feeling the need to go too defensive at the moment. He just holds on to that place for now, but he runs wide coming out of Stowe, and maybe this will give White Fountain a run into Vale. Too far back in the end there. We'll have to try again next time around, but it looks a lot more racier than Victor at this point in the race. Of course, Victor will just be focusing on defending now, and that will ruin his lap time, and Jovi seems to have dropped back a long way from the Red Bull driver as well.
White Fountain getting very close to the back of Victor in towards turn 3 and now towards turn 4 of the loop. We now head towards turn 5 and on towards the DRS zone once again. Let's see if he can get any closer this time around, but look at that, Victor has just opened that gap up just enough. It's not a very long DRS straight, the Wellington Straight. You really have to be right on the tail of your opponent if you want to try and find a way past. We head through Luffield now, and then we'll be heading towards that long right-hander at Woodcote. And again, can White Fountain try and drag Victor back in with the slipstream as we head towards Cops Corner, turn 9, using that curb on entry. They try and make the corner as wide as possible, carry a little bit more speed through the corner, and look at this now. Again, White Fountain managing to catch Victor, but this dirty air might affect him as we head through Maggots and then through Beckett. On towards Chapel we go, but he's a lot closer than he was last time around, that's for sure. Can he this time use the DRS, use that slipstream, use a little bit of ERS as well? Victor goes to the right hand side, White Fountain goes left. Of course, Victor is on the inside. They're going side by side through Stowe. Has White Fountain got the move done? Yes, he has. Round the outside, idolising Mansell, and he's got the move done. Up to second place he goes, parks it on the apex, and now is crunch time. His championship rival is just ahead of him. 7.3 seconds. Can he do it?
It's going to be a big ask. Brave driving by White Fountain there, but fair play to Victor. He could have easily shoved White Fountain across the curb there and made it a lot harder, but I think he knew the move was done. He was going to struggle and just thought better of it, but he's going to be within DRS this time around, so all may not be over in this battle for second place at the moment. Further back there's a battle between the other Red Bull, Scorpion, and the McLaren as White Fountain goes a bit deep there around Woodcote, and this might give Victor a chance as he heads towards Cops, just a bit too far back. And White Fountain, now that he's cleared the Haas driver, I'm sure he'll be wanting to get away as soon as possible, but Victor's not letting him get away with this without a fight. Although, as I say that, the commentator's curse there, Victor getting it very wrong into Cops, and that just gives White Fountain the breathing space he needs.
He's up to second. That's what he wanted. Maybe a bit later than what he'd like, but he's now in a position where he can try and catch Westy. And that gap is starting to come down a little bit. Was 7.5 when he passed Victor. It's now down to 7.1. So slowly, gradually, he's starting to pull him in. Westy in then. Just under half race distance, and Westy's in for a second stop. Is he planning to go mediums towards the end?
He's got no choice, has he, to have two compounds, although that seems like a very long stint on those medium tyres. He lasted longer in the first stint when he'd have had more fuel and older tyres with qualifying, so I'm not quite sure what Westy's thinking there. Perhaps just covering off any potential undercut from White Fountain, but they seem to be way too far back for that to work. We'll see where Westy comes out of the pit lane. He could be behind Baboon J, so he could be down in 10th place. Is he just going to get out ahead of them? He's actually behind Nika as well, and these two cars are battling, so I'm not sure that has gone to plan for the championship leader.
Well, he's got to stick by it now. He's got to make those medium tyres last a half race distance, as that's where we're at now. Lap 14 of 26. There are 13 laps to go here in the championship decider. White Fountain leads from Victor, Jorit, Asahina, Azamata, Scorpion, TK, Luki, Baboon J and Nika. And here is Nika riding on board as he tried to go round the outside on the entrance into turn 6 there. Try and get past Baboon J as we now head through Luffield. But no, oh, he lost the back end! Lost the back end completely, hits the rear, and I think he's very lucky that the car didn't decide to retire itself when it went backwards into the wall there. I think Nika can count his lucky stars that he's still in this race, but a moment there to forget for the Flying Finn, but he'll want to be getting back on track and seeing if he can recover that lost momentum. Meanwhile, Scorpion then is heading his way through Stowe Corner, and there is White Fountain also coming into the pits then. He's pitting in from the lead of the race, so this is a reaction now. He's reacting to Westy pitting in on medium tyres. That's the only person he needs to focus on. So this is a correct call then. Whatever tyres you go on, I'm going on the same. Medium tyres on for White Fountain, and he leaves the pit lane. So has Westy got an undercut here? Will he rejoin ahead of White Fountain, and how much will he rejoin ahead by? It was around 6.7 as Westy entered the pit lane. We'll have to see whether the gap has increased or decreased during this stop. There is White Fountain just making his way out of the pit lane, and he's going to rejoin comfortably in 10th place. We'll have to see at the next timing line, and there you go. Is that 4.5 seconds? That can't be right, but there it is. The gap's come down by at least 1.5 seconds.
I think that shows just how well these soft tyres seem to be holding up, so I'm not sure that was the right decision by White Fountain to cover it off at that moment in time. Maybe another lap or two we'd have closed that gap even more and had fresher tyres at the end. He's got a bit of free air though at the moment, whereas Westy is going to have to deal possibly with Baboon J, who's done 13 laps on those medium tyres, so at least that shows the Haas driver that they are durable enough to manage the entire race. On the hangar straight, however, we've got Scorpion and Azamata, Red Bull versus Toro Rosso. Red Bull getting past for Toro Rosso, Azamata trying to fight back into Stowe, not able to do so, and Victor now comes into the pitch from the lead of the race.
Yeah, we'll have to see where he rejoins. Now, of course, he was behind White Fountain. He's gone 2 laps longer than Westy has on those soft tyres. So let's see where the Haas actually rejoins. In he comes into the pits now. Victor is one of those drivers who could play a pivotal role in this championship battle. As a teammate to Westy, he can have the power. I think White Fountain was hoping that Scorpion could have a little bit more involvement, but maybe Scorpion's just focusing on his own race here as he heads through turn 5. He's trying to hunt down Asahina for second place. Asahina goes defensive on the run towards turn 6 here, as Scorpion has to go around the outside. He might try a little bit of a cut back here. On towards Luffield we go, and they both run wide just a little bit there as Azamata looks to put some pressure on. Meanwhile, on the battle behind, Westy 7th, White Fountain 8th. Victor does rejoin in 9th place, 1.2 seconds behind, so he's lost a little time, but not too much time. Not too much time that he can't, you know, have significant away in this battle at all. So championship leaders then 7th and 8th, as Westy seems to be building the gap now. 6.2 the gap.
Yeah, I think he's just having that extra lap on the medium tyres when they've got more temperature in them. That's allowed him to pull away a bit more, pretty much negating the time he lost while White Fountain was on the softs. It's a straight run to the end then. Now, for the championship, can White Fountain pull in that 6-second gap.
Oh,
just
no!
over 10.
Between Asahina and Scorpion, that was, and Scorpion's cut the track to come back on. He was tapped from behind by Azamata. Azamata's lost a chunk of front wing. Scorpion's had to go straight on. He's taken a 3-second time penalty. I'm sure he'll be disagreeing to that to the hills. However, he's now behind Azamata, but Azamata there, if he chooses to replace his front wing, is going to take even longer in the pit lane. Scorpion will of course be fuming under that lid. However, he's just got to try and keep his cool and know that Azamata has to pit still and maybe replace that front wing now.
Yeah, he'll sure be appealing that penalty there. He's going to have to try and grab a go in the DRS zone. That did allow Asahina to get back ahead as the Red Bull gets very close to the back of the Toro Rosso. All this has just dragged TK into the battle as well, of course. Now, Asahina and Azamata on the alternative strategy. They're going to be on the soft tyres at the end, so they could be ones to watch to see where they come out. They will be a long way behind Jovic, I imagine, but they'll have a lot of pace at the end of this race. We saw Westy and White Fountain trade fastest laps as the gap is now just under 6 seconds, and through Maggett, Beckett's and Chapel you can see the damage on Azamata's front wing, how it affects him. Scorpion badly held up there, and that's going to give TK a chance going down into Stowe perhaps, although that Red Bull has lightning straight line speed there.
Round the outside he goes, and this time around he's got the move done. No dramas here as Azamata does peel into the pits, assuming that he's going to replace his front wing, and he does speed in the pit lane. That's that downforce not actually acting to slow the car down, so he's been caught out by that 5-second stop go penalty he's been slapped with. And Westy then 5th place, White Fountain still in 6th, 5.6 behind, so that gap really is fluctuating. Is this inconsistency going to affect White Fountain throughout the race? So Azamata into the pits, he switches onto a set of soft tyres. Meanwhile, up ahead of him, TK is going to try now and battle away with Scorpion as they head down the Wellington Straight. Let us know in the comments, 5.4 seconds between Westy and White Fountain. Which team are you supporting? TK trying to go down the inside in towards turn 6 there. Nothing doing. Lukey out of the race. Luke, have you got an eye on Lukey? Where's he gone off?
I'm not sure, but Job is also out of the race. We've got some yellow flags into Stowe. I'm not sure if
it's
the two
towards...
seem related.
Yeah,
both off at Stowe.
Both off at Stowe. I have no idea what to say to that one. I'll have to...
Joe was a lap down as well on Lukey, so has Lukey tried to lap him, as Joe just got it wrong a bit like Montoya and Verstappen we saw back in 2001? Where were the two? Did Joe try and pull one way and did Lukey crash into the back of him? We're just speculating, of course, and Lukey here saying that Joe purposely took him out, so that could be a very interesting one to see in the stewards office later. And we've got a very interesting battle for the lead there, and as I say that, Asahina and TK both dive into the pits.
TK almost ran into the back of Asahina there, got himself a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane, but have a look at this, 71 kph. It's excruciatingly slow in the pit lane, and that 2-stop makes it so much worse. The fact that they have to do this mandatory 2-stop, everybody is looking to try and do that now. As you can see, Asahina and TK are making their second stop. The only people yet to make a second stop are Nika, who you're watching right now going through turn 1, and Scorpion, who's currently leading the race. Everybody else has made their mandatory 2 stops.
Yeah, so thankfully that won't have an effect on the championship battle as we saw happen in Podium. The gap between the two title rivals is 5.5 seconds. Interestingly, Westy is 1 warning away from a 3-second penalty. White Fountain hasn't got any warnings, so perhaps the Red Bull driver can afford to just push a little bit more and put a bit of pressure on Westy, because at the moment, if the Haas got a penalty, that would halve the gap pretty much and make it a lot more interesting.
Now here's an idea. Scorpion hasn't pitted yet. We have 8 laps to go. Westy's closing in. 6.8 seconds is the gap. Is there a chance here that there could be Red Bull team orders on the cards now? We were talking about Haas team orders. Could there now be Red Bull team orders?
I mean, they tried some teamwork in qualifying, and I don't think it went to plan. I can't see Scorpion on 10-lap old soft tyres being able to put up any resistance to Westy if he gets close. The only hope would be if Westy catches Scorpion as he goes through corps. He would lose a chunk of time through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, although he seems to have pulled out a lot of time on White Fountain on this lap. It's worth a shot for Scorpion. He hasn't got anything to lose. Constructors
Oh!
up all over.
Oh, Asahina and TK making contact there as they head towards Stowe. They've been trading positions throughout Sector 2 and even in towards Maggots and Beckett's there. They were going side by side. I don't think they meant to come together, but they did. But TK now is even more motivated to try and get past Asahina. Just an update on Asahina's strategy. He's gone for another set of medium tyres, so he might find himself falling down the field now, especially with TK behind him on soft tyres.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he's done that, because I feel the soft tyres would have comfortably lasted. We've seen Scorpion's done 11 laps on them, although he is, we said, losing about a second a lap at the moment to Westy, as is to be expected. White Fountain just seems to have lost a lot of time over the last couple of laps. Whether has he given up almost? That gap's pulled out to nearly 8 seconds at the moment, and Victor seems to be catching him up once more.
Well, all to play for then in the final 7 laps of the season finale. Sadie in the chat there saying, could have at least given me credit, Kieran. Shh, no one has to know, Sadie. But yes, I did steal that from you, the team orders from Red Bull. Anyway, that's what it's coming to be, because Westy's now closing in 3.8 seconds behind Scorpion. He's closing in fast, and of course, Scorpion still needs to stop again. Is he willing to risk his entire position and get disqualified at the end of the race in order to help White Fountain? Surely not.
I doubt he would do that. I mean, I don't think it's going to come to that. I imagine Westy's going to catch him before lap 24, and that will be the final lap where Scorpion can pay. He's just losing so much time at the moment, the Red Bull. If we look at the last lap, Westy set a 1:29.4, the fastest lap of the race. Scorpion was on a 1:31.6, so pretty much next time around, Westy is going to be within DRS zone as TK sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:29.18, unsurprisingly, perhaps on those soft tyres at the moment. I think White Fountain's only hope is that Scorpion does a superb job of driving the widest Red Bull in the entire of Britain over the next few laps, because that championship is slipping away from the Red Bull driver.
Absolutely, with only 6 laps to go, 5.5 if you're being picky. It is Scorpion in the lead, but he's yet to make his second stop in this race. Westy is in second, 1.9 now is the gap, with White Fountain in third. He's 7.6 behind Westy. As you say, Luke, that gap is just getting bigger and bigger. I wonder what's going on here. Has White Fountain just lost the tyres? Has he lost temperature? Maybe the temperature in the tyres has gone too high. Maybe they're overheating those tyres. Who knows what could be happening right now, though. All that matters for Westy is that he's in front of White Fountain.
He's doing everything he needs to do. If it stays as it is, he will win the championship by a huge margin of 4 points. I'd imagine he's going to be more than that, of course. Scorpion is either going to have to pit and drop behind or get himself disqualified from the race results. He's now just 1.3 seconds behind Westy, and if White Fountain ever needed anyone to do him a favour, it's going to have to happen in the next lap, you feel, for Westy breezes past Scorpion. Victor's dropped back a bit more from White Fountain, so it looks as though third place will be the best he can do today after the pit stops. Jovic looking safe in 5th at the moment. TK pulling away from Asahina, although that is a battle to watch with Azamata all over the back of the Sauber. We saw these two involved with each other early on in the race, and it could happen once more with Asahina having to go defensive. This time to go down the back straight. Manages to hold the line there. Will Azamata be able to cut back through Luffield and get a better run down the straight? He's on the soft tyre, so he should have more grip at the moment. He is closing on that Sauber. Is he going to get the move done? Into contact between the two of them. And that is not what you want to see there. Asahina, I think, pulling back to allow Azamata through, as Azamata's actually left the session, actually.
Well, the drama between the two of them. Meanwhile there, I think Red Bull have been looking over the rule book. There's nothing to say that you can... what's the saying here? There's nothing to say you can do it, but there's nothing to say you can't. This could be an interesting battle that has massive championship implications. That's if Scorpion stays out and doesn't take his second stop. He'll take the disqualification. He'll change his entire race, but you know, all the rules say is if you don't complete those 2 stops, you get disqualified. Nothing else happens. Westy here might have a chance to try and get past Scorpion. He knows, Westy, how important this move is. Down towards turn 6 he goes. Up the inside, the Red Bull trying desperately to hang on, but nothing doing. The tyres are too far gone. 14 lap old soft tyres are no match for Westy's tyres. Westy is through to take the lead of the British Grand Prix, and Scorpion there, although he tried his absolute best, I'm sure those tyres are just too old. They didn't give the grip. They're too slow now, and surely now the option now is just to come in and get those tyres changed onto a new set of softs, and maybe as a consolation go for the fastest lap of the race. But that could be a dagger in the heart for White Fountain.
Yeah, Scorpion, he tried everything he could, but there was no way he was going to have the grip to hold it on around the outside there. I'm surprised he didn't go more defensive initially, but he probably knew deep down that no matter what he did, Westy was just going to sweep around as he does come into the pits now. Ashahina's gone off slightly into turn 1. He's going very slowly, so I think we could see a retirement from the Sauber driver. He's dropped down behind Azamata now, so down to 11th. It was looking so good for him early on. Don't think this soft medium strategy has worked out for him. White Fountain 6.5 seconds behind then, 3 laps to go. It's just not going to happen unless Westy has an absolute nightmare in these final stages.
And Scorpion has come into the pits on the last possible lap. He could have done that. So you have to have at least 1 racing lap. So he's left it as last minute as he possibly can. He could have gone 1 more, but you never know. He decided to play it safe. However, he's now all the way down to 6th place and actually rejoins in a set of medium tyres. So maybe he's got no more soft tyres left to run. Maybe he can only run a set of mediums now to the end of the race. But this is Westy now leading as we head through Maggots and Beckett's, and then we're going to head towards Chapel, that slight left-hander, down then towards the Hanger Straight and towards Stowe. Westy leading White Fountain by 6.5 seconds, while Precision Tier has had good race after good race, close battling between Westy and White Fountain. They came to blows at some races, went to the steward's office in others, but at the end of the day, it's Westy leading the race, and that is all he'll want to do right now.
Yeah, still getting this would be his 3rd win of the season. If it stays as it is, more wins than anyone. White Fountain, the only other driver to win more than 1 race. They have been the class of the field throughout the season. If it wasn't for the Westy's retirement in Germany and his puncture last time out in Austria, maybe they've gone the entire season getting a podium at every race. Maybe the title will be over, but you never know. White Fountain's had a bit of bad luck as well. I feel like White Fountain might look at the German Grand Prix as the race where it all went a bit pear-shaped for him. He had a chance to get some good points there with his main rival retiring, but could only finish in 9th place, which was actually the last position in that race. That could have had a big difference, but he won't be able to complain too much. 2nd place has been a great job from the Red Bull driver, and of course helping his team to the Constructors' Championship.
Well, Westy then, with just 1.5 laps to go, I don't think I'll be counting up those championships just yet. We had Nigel Mansell do that once at Canada, and it all went wrong with the gearbox. A certain Nelson Piquet vividly described how he reacted. I'm not sure I can repeat it over broadcast, but very vividly he described what his reaction was. It could happen here. You never know. A late puncture might change the whole landscape of the race, but as it stands then, Westy is heading around the final corner. He'll start the final lap of the race, the final lap of season 13 and the final lap of F1 2018, as he now makes his way through Farm and towards turn 3. As it stands then, he will be winning the championship, and he's only got about 3.5 kilometers to go. It has been a tough season for both Westy and White Fountain. It's all about who's able to keep their cool rule over the entire season. A short season really punishes his mistakes, it punishes retirements, it punishes punctures, it punishes everything of the sorts there. But Westy at the moment has risen above all that as he heads through Luffield and then towards Woodcote for the final time. He'll be taking on Cops. Only one more time for the tyres to hold on for dear life. 12 lap old mediums. The only driver who's had older tyres is Asahina. He's on 14 lap mediums right now, so a little bit of the unknown in for Westy as he makes his way now in towards Mackett, and then it's through Beckett. He's actually coming up towards a back marker. I think this is Asahina as he now makes his way on towards the straight. He backs out of it. He wants nothing to do with Asahina there, really backing off there, playing it absolutely safe, and why not? He doesn't want to risk this entire championship on one move as he heads through Stowe and then down towards Vale and the club corner. Only a couple of corners to go for Westy. It may not have been Haas this season, but he's been Haas's star driver. He makes his way around the final corner and towards the checkered flag. Westy wins the championship. He wins here in Britain. He's the champion of season 13. A massive congratulations to Westy. It's been hard earned. It's been long coming for him, and he's finally done it. 2 hands on that trophy, and he's well deserved there. White Fountain, huge commiserations for finishing runner-up in the championship. It's been a grueling season, but mistakes are punished, and they're punished severely in such a short season. Jarrett then finishes in 3rd, with Victor finishing in 4th place, then TK 5th, Scorpion in 6th, Jay crosses the line in 7th place. Nicker then is making his way currently through Stowe Corner and then down towards Vale. He's going to wrap up and try and get 8th place in the race then. Niels is currently in 9th at the moment. Azamata has already taken the checkered flag. So it will just be Niels to head towards the line now. Where is he? He's just coming towards Stowe Corner now. But that is almost wrapped up now. We've just got one more car to head towards the start-finish line to wrap up not only season 13 but also F1 2018 as we look towards a new season on a new game. Niels heads towards the line in 9th place. But your winner of the British Grand Prix and season 13 champion, Westy, takes all the spoils for season 13.
Yeah, great race to end the season. A lot of interesting different strategies going off there. Wasn't sure pitting that early on was the right move, but White Fountain followed him to cover it off, and that was all Westy needed to take victory number 3. He's the champion in season 13. And I think the consistency at the start of the season did it for him. He got 2 wins and a 2nd place in the first 3 races, and since then everyone else was playing catch up and no one was really able to challenge him consistently enough and keep it clean across the rest of the season.
Well, he started the day leading the championship. He ends today in the exact same manner. Westy wins One Hub season 13, so it is a massive congratulations. He wins in the precision tier. It's White Fountain in 2nd, 4.5 seconds. He did his absolute best, but he just couldn't quite get there. It's Jarrett in 3rd, Victor 4th, TK 5th, Scorpion in 6th, Jay 7th, Nicker 8th, Niels in 9th. As a matter, crossed the line in 10th, but as a ghost car, it was Asahina 11th. Nick G is a ghost car 12th, Lukey and Jaw retiring from the race then. Those are your official, unofficial results, and unofficially we can announce that Westy is your precision tier season 13 champion.
Yeah, superb job today and across the entire season for him. White Fountain tried his best, but it was just too far back, I feel, after that 2nd pit stop to be able to have a real go. It looked as though it was closing up at one stage, but maybe it would have been worth for him trying something different to try and get the win here today and the championship. And Kieran, who is, for the final time this season, your driver of the day?
Driver of the day is always difficult. I mean, we've crowned a champion. It's surely got to be the champion. Westy, I think, today did a perfect strategy. He led White Fountain onto that strategy, which, was it stronger? Was it weaker? It didn't matter, because Westy reacted and got onto the same strategy, and that is what could have been crucial. You know, White Fountain didn't want to risk going onto a different strategy. He wanted to try and win this championship, and that was the way he thought to do it. But yeah, my driver of the day goes to the champion of season 13. It has to go to Westy. How about you, Luke? Who is your final driver of the day award going to?
I mean, I'd love to agree with you, but I have to pick someone different. So I'm going to go just for his fantastic start and for probably a crucial drive in that first stint for keeping White Fountain behind him for such a long time. I think Victor did a superb job in that first stint. He soaked up all the pressure pretty much until the pit stop, and that is why I'm going to give him my Driver of the Day award.
And, well, not only does this wrap up not only Season 13, not only F1 2018, but Luke Etheridge is going on a bit of a sabbatical. He's hanging up the headset for now. And, Luke, I really do hope you come back. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating with you this season.
Yeah, I have to say, Kieran, I've really enjoyed these 8 races. It's only been a short season. I wish it could have been a full one. And who knows, maybe I'll make some one-off returns every now and then when real life doesn't get in the way. Such a shame that I won't be able to commit full time to next season, but I hope I get another opportunity to commentate on such fantastic action as we've seen throughout Season 13 here at One Hub.
And this doesn't look good for Nick, because I've gone through 2 commentators in 2 seasons. Don't tell anybody that. First Jono, now you, Luke. What did I do wrong?
It's just too good for us. We can't compete.
Oh sure, I'm sure that's the reason why. I'll find out from you off stream, don't you worry. Anyway, just head over now to the Pinnacle Tier. They're just finishing up qualifying now. Go ahead and see who gets crowned champion in the Pinnacle Tier. Luke, we have to say it's been a fantastic season, and one last question from me to you. Do we have a deserved champion this season?
He won more races than anyone else. Only retired from one of the races. 6 podiums out of 8 possible. Yeah, did the best job.
Well, fantastic. Thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure you follow the league on Twitter. It's at OneHub Racing, and you can also subscribe to the channel down below. Hit the notification bell to make sure you're notified every Friday night when we go live with each of our tiers. You can also follow me on Twitter if you like. It's at KSMCGF1, and you can also follow Luke there whilst you're there.
Yeah, it's at Luke Etheridge 95.
Well, we don't know how long the wait's going to be for Season 14, but make sure you're following at OneHub Racing for all the updates, all the details you need for Season 14, including sign-up details as well. Until Season 14, I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been Luke Etheridge.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.